Hey everybody, so I have a mic here, so that's why I was like super close just now. So I'm going to be reading from a page in this book by Frederick Douglass called Selected Works. And the front of the book says, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, and it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will." And I think this is an amazing book. I'm going to be really diving deep into it, and I have some more behind me on my little tiny library shelf. But there is a parody inside of it. It says a parody. It's on page 107. And Storm wants to say hello. Okay, so we'll get to it. I think this is very important considering the events that we have seen as of late. It says, "Come, saints and sinners, hear me tell how pious priests whip Jack and Nell, and women buy and children sell, and preach all sinners down to hell, and sing of heavenly union. They'll bleat and baa, Donna like goats, gorge down black sheep, and strain at moats, array their backs in fine black coats, then seize their Negroes by their throats, and choke for heavenly union. They'll church you if you sip a dram, and damn you if you steal a lamb, yet rob old Tony, Doll, and Sam of human rights and bread and ham, kidnappers heavenly union. They'll loudly talk of Christ's reward and bind his message with a cord, and scold and swing the lash abhorred, and sell their brother in the Lord to handcuffed heavenly union. They'll read and sing a sacred song, and make a prayer both loud and long, and teach the right and do the wrong, hailing the brother-sister throng with words of heavenly union. We wonder how such saints can sing, or praise the Lord upon the wing, who roar and scold and whip and sting, and to their slaves a mammon cling, in guilty conscience union. They'll raise tobacco, corn, and rye, and drive and thieve, and cheat and lie, and lay up treasures in the sky by making switch and cowskin fly, in hope of heavenly union. They'll crack old Tony on the skull and preach and roar like Bashan bull, or braying ass of mischief full, then seize old Jacob by the wool, and pull for heavenly union. A roaring, ranting, sleekman thief who lived on mutton, veal, and beef, yet never would afford relief to needy, sable sons of grief, was big with heavenly union. Love not the world, the preacher said, and winked his eye and shook his head. He seized on Tom and Dick and Ned, cut short their meat and clothes and bread, yet still loved heavenly union. Another preacher whining spoke of one whose heart for sinners broke. He tied old Nancy to an oak, and drew the blood at every stroke, and prayed for heavenly union. To others oped their iron jaws, and waved their children stealing paws. There sat their children in gewgaws, by stinging Negroes' backs and maws. They kept up heavenly union. All good from Jack another takes, and entertains their flirts and rakes, who dress as sleek as glossy snakes, and cram their mouths with sweetened cakes. And this goes down for union. It says, sincerely and earnestly hoping that this little book may do something toward throwing light on the American slave system and hastening the glad day of deliverance to the millions of my brethren in bonds, faithfully relying upon the power of truth, love, and justice for success in my humble efforts, and solemnly pledging myself anew to the sacred cause, I subscribe myself. Frederick Douglass. It says Lynn, Mass, April 28th, 1845. This is a wonderful book. It's very eye-opening, and it very much shows exactly what we're dealing with today. It's a beautiful picture on the back. Exactly what we're dealing with today in our system, and how people are being completely destroyed, and how people feign good words and good works, but they actually don't do anything to help people. What they're actually doing is persecuting people, enslaving them physically, destroying them financially, and all in the name of good works and, Christianity and all sorts of other things. And it's abhorrent. It's absolutely disgusting. It's the ultimate virtue signal. I guess this was the early works, and if they could see it back then, and we're seeing the same thing now, I don't think it's coincidence. I don't think, a lot of people say history doesn't repeat itself, and I beg to differ. And I think this book is very evident that history does in fact repeat itself, because everything that he's describing here right now is what we are witnessing today. And if you think that people are not being unjustly beaten or enslaved, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, if you just look at how people are being treated by law enforcement during the pandemic, how old people were being beaten, old people. And I mean, if you look at the way that, the border is being dealt with, and how certain people in government have created the circumstances for us to suffer at the hands of whatever they allow to come across the border, which is, the drugs from the fentanyl and the trafficking. And the people who are involved in just trying to outright take us out, because there have been a lot of murders, there have been a lot of assaults and so forth. So, it's the same garbage, different pile, if you will, but this is all the same playbook of what we've been seeing for a very long time. Nevertheless, I think this was a good laugh, and beautiful nevertheless. And I think that if you guys want something interesting to read, I would say pick up some of these books. There's a few. I actually have quite a few here. And Candace got me into this, but there's also one that Abraham Lincoln and We the People, Constitution of the United States, as well as Common Sense by Thomas Paine, which isn't so common anymore, as we know. So anyways, guys, get good books. I love hard copy myself. If it's not hard copy, I don't want it. I hate reading from a screen. One day I'll have a large library, perhaps like Bell, if you will, comparatively. Anyways, guys, keep yourself informed, keep yourself well-read, and talk to your neighbors, because that is going to keep you most informed, far more than any news broadcasting agency could. To be fair, connectivity in real time with real people is the most important thing, and understanding what you're dealing with, because you cannot fix a problem unless you understand the root cause. And that's why reading a little bit of history never hurt anybody. Ciao.